Premier ministre, les pyramides de la population sont inversées. La population est de plus en plus vieille. L'immigration est insuffisante selon Statistique Canada. Quoi faire? Il faudra demander aux Canadiens de travailler plus tard dans leur vie ou accroître l'immigration?
Ben, on sait que ça fait longtemps qu'on voit ça venir avec le vieillissement de la population, particulièrement dans certaines régions du pays. Ça fait longtemps qu'on investit dans plus de formation pour s'assurer que les jeunes puissent avoir de meilleurs emplois. On s'assure de continuer à augmenter nos niveaux d'immigration. On continue à s'assurer que les aînés ont plus de choix s'ils veulent continuer à travailler, s'ils veulent prendre leur retraite. On va s'occuper d'eux. Oui, c'est des défis, mais ça fait longtemps qu'on est en train de travailler là-dessus.
So Canadians are they going to plan to work longer, basically? Or Canadians get to think, well, I got to retire later now.
I think Canadians will make choices, but we need to make sure that we're giving people the opportunity to either to retire in dignity and safety, which is why we're making investments in long-term care. We're also increasing immigration. We're focusing on making sure that we're giving young people the best training and education opportunities so they can get the best possible jobs that will support the population. These are all things that are not new challenges, but we've been there to support seniors, including with restoring the age of retirement from 67, which Mr. Harper put it at, to 65, but there's lots more to do. Merci tout le monde.
Listen, we have an aging population. I think we all know that, but you know, much of that, the fastest part of that population growth is like 85 and up. So I think that there's a concern that there's going to be a labor shortage moving forward. So what's the plan in terms of meeting that gap?
Well, on skilled labor, we got a labor shortage right now. We got a significant skilled labor shortage. In fact, if you look at all the things that we're confronting, whether it be a climate crisis, and when people talk about just transition, or a housing crisis, you know, either one of these, it requires people to actually know how to do the work. They got to do the work. In the short term, doing things like even a labor mobility tax deduction, in which workers can actually, you know, not pay a penalty because they're just traveling to go to where the work is helpful. In the medium term, I would say making sure that we have good skilled trade centers is very helpful, and that, you know, where we can find ways to address that labor shortage, great. Also, I would say in the medium term, dealing with immigration. Right? How do we make sure that we recognize foreign credentials? How do we make sure that we better recognize credentials within our own domestic market, you know, between provinces, right, who look after the bulk of that at accreditation? And I think in the long term, how do we tell a new generation of young people out there that the skilled trades are where it's at? It's great work. It's interesting work. It's fulfilling work. And the pay is great. And, you know, some of the places I've gone to across the country, they're doing a really good job, unions, provinces, federal government, and trying to expose young people, because I'm old enough that I remember that we had wood shop and metal works and stuff, and at least you were exposed to it in school. A lot of people aren't, and, you know, these days. So we need to expose them, especially if we want to get more women in the workforce, more racialized people in the workforce, more LGBTQ, and especially, I think, more Indigenous. The biggest demographic boom in this country continues to be Indigenous people. So if we can get more people, First Nations, Inuit, Métis communities working in the skilled trades, that will be a help. But it is a problem. It is a problem.
The other thing you mentioned is foreign credentials, recognizing that that's a complicated issue.
It is.
Talked about it for a long time. I mean, what are the key facets here? Because it seems like there's provincial coordination, guilds, medical colleges, and the like. How do you get people on board to standardize that? Could the federal government try and make that a centralized recognition for foreign credentials, for example?
You got to deal with the provinces and territories on it. Even me, as federal labor minister, I've got about 5% of the workforce, 5% of the Canadian economy. The other 95 are provinces and territories. So you got to work with them. But I have to say, in my short time in this ministry, the best ideas really are, and the drive often comes from unions. And look, when you've got a skilled labor shortage and it's recognized by people and it's recognized as being central to lowering emissions, building up renewables, and our housing crisis, it's amazing how that has all of a sudden focused the mind not just of the federal government and different departments working together, but provincial governments. Provincial governments are on board.
My last one is, Canadians, what's your message to Canadians who think, my goodness, am I going to have to push my return? Am I going to have to think about remaining in the workforce alone?
No, I think I wouldn't cause anybody to panic over this, but I would say, look, it is incumbent upon making sure this economy functions right. It's incumbent upon us to make sure that we have enough people in the skilled trades. Every major challenge that this country is confronting is going to require people who know what they're doing. That's the labor force of this country.
Thank you.
I don't know. Okay, buddy.
Mr. Singer, Canadians got to work longer since we're getting older. Do you think you have to push the retirement age back, or?
No, we got to find ways to take care of our seniors, for sure. We've called for that, we campaigned on that, making sure seniors have a livable income to live in respect and dignity, no question about
Mais
it.
pour la main-d'œuvre, la population vieillit de plus en plus, l'immigration est insuffisante. Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Plus
Je pense
d'immigration?
que plus d'immigration, c'est une solution, plus de formation pour avoir les bonnes formations pour le bon travail. Ça, c'est une question qui a été soulevée, une réponse qui va régler le problème aussi.
So
Merci
what do you want
beaucoup.
to see the government do about Canada's demographic scenario?
We look at immigration as a solution. I think it's one of the best solutions we have.
Repousser l'âge de la retraite?
Non, je pense que les aînés, nos aînés doivent avoir le droit de retraite avec dignité, avec une compensation pour avoir une vie de dignité. Merci.